What's going on, everyone? Happy Thursday to everyone. Hopefully, everyone is doing well and having a great day so far. Welcome to the Thursday weather update for Thursday, June 20th, 2024. If you're new to my channel, this is where we do the daily weather update for the United States, where we give about a 10 to 15 minute update, sometimes a little less, on what's happening with the weather all across the United States. Want to stay informed? Hit that subscribe button down below. Like these videos? Give it a thumbs up down below. Share them with anyone you know. Leave your comments down below. And of course, hit that notification bell. You'll know when I do my latest updates. Alright, starting off today with the National Hazards Map. You can see heat warnings and advisories are still up across portions of the Great Lakes, Ohio, and the Northeast. There's also some heat concerns today for the West Coast, and of course there are still wildfire threats across portions of California. In between, there is a flash flood threat today for portions of Utah, Colorado, New Mexico. Not as much for Texas anymore, but up in the plains and upper Midwest, we have to keep an eye on you because heavy rainfall, it still could happen as you have disturbances going over the top of that bridge. And you can see here, showers and thunderstorms are already ongoing in that area. There are still some showers in western Texas and still a few showers along the Texas coast as well, southeast of San Antonio, down near Corpus Christi. And these showers in central and western Texas will continue to shift west throughout the day. The rest of the country is relatively quiet this morning. All right, moving on now to this from the Hurricane Center. Remember there was a disturbance in the Atlantic? They're still monitoring it. As of 8 a.m. June 20th, a small area of low pressure east of the northern Bahamas could become a tropical depression before it reaches the coast of northeast Florida or Georgia on Friday. An Air Force plane is scheduled to investigate this afternoon. We'll have to see if they find anything. Keep an eye on my Twitter. It is, as you can see down here, Climate Data Report. Keep an eye. I'll retweet anything or tweet anything I found out about that. There it is right there. It is now up to 40% chance of development. Yesterday, we did gain Tropical Storm Alberto. Alberto is now down to a tropical depression, but hey, Alberto was crossed off the list. Now we have to watch another area of disturbed weather down further to the south and east that could go over to the southwestern Gulf of Mexico as we head into this weekend, and that is now given a 50% chance of development. So we could have another Alberto-like situation, though this time it would be slightly more south with less of an impact of Texas and more so a Mexico impact. All right, moving on to the Storm Prediction Center. Yesterday was a little bit of an overperformer up in the Northeast. You can see here quite a few wind reports, so in theory maybe that should have been a slight risk with a watch yesterday. Look at New Hampshire, right along the New Hampshire-Vermont border, like that I-91 corridor. Yeah, that probably should have been a slight risk yesterday. And you can see there were some reports back across portions of Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, one Wisconsin wind report. Then there was one tornado report yesterday as well in portions of Texas. And then New Mexico had some severe weather. One tornado total for the United States yesterday. 113 wind reports. One was a high wind report. 13 hail reports, one large. And 127 reports total. Taking a look at today, there is a slight risk of severe weather across portions of Nebraska and South Dakota, and we'll have to keep an eye on that for today. Then there is also the slight risk of severe weather across portions of the Northeast and New England, where the main threat for there today will be wind, just a minor hail threat, and you do see there is a hail threat back across portions of Wyoming, even a 5% up in Montana as well. Wind is also a threat out there, and just a minor tornado threat. We could get a couple of supercells to get going, and that could spin up a tornado from time to time. Taking a look at day 2, which is tomorrow, and we can see yet again in the northern plains we do have that slight risk of severe weather. Marginal risk across much of Pennsylvania, portions of northeast Ohio, including Cleveland, and New York City. You're right on the borderline of a marginal risk, as is portions of Connecticut and portions of Massachusetts. Tomorrow's threats are just a 2% chance of a tornado in the plains, 15% wind there, and hail, 15%. The threat tomorrow across Pennsylvania and New York is mainly wind. And then day 3, there is a slight risk across portions of Iowa, Minnesota, and across portions of Wisconsin. And for right now, they're going with 15% probabilities. Let's take a look at the HRRR model for the rest of today. And you can see the HRRR model does get showers and thunderstorms going pretty much almost in the same spots as yesterday in the Northeast. And some of these will be severe. I expect today there will definitely be a severe thunderstorm watch. And then take a look at what gets going here across portions of Nebraska and South Dakota. Very heavy rainfall, showers, and thunderstorms. There definitely could be a flash flood threat with that. And then as we advance in tomorrow, you can see it starts to form a boundary tomorrow evening, and more showers and thunderstorms form with very heavy rainfall. And you can see here more showers and thunderstorms across New York. That almost looks like a weak mesoscale convective system on the HRRR model for New York. Take a look at this. Yes, the HRRR is going very bullish across portions of Minnesota, South Dakota, even portions of Iowa. This is very heavy. 3 to 5 inches of rainfall, and you can see here some of these pockets are showing even higher amounts than that. Because of this, the Weather Prediction Center has now put up a moderate risk because multiple models are suggesting there could be some rounds of training thunderstorms, so there is a moderate risk of excessive rainfall, which means flash flooding is possible. Western Texas and portions of New Mexico and portions of Colorado, slight risk for you today, and just a marginal risk in the Northeast. There is also another moderate risk tomorrow across portions of South Dakota, Minnesota, and even northern Iowa and western portions of central Wisconsin. Moderate risk of flash flooding, well, excessive rainfall, but flash flooding is possible in this moderate risk area for tomorrow. You saw on the HRRR model, there will be some training segments of thunderstorms and just a marginal risk in southern Texas and just a marginal risk along the Pennsylvania-New York border. Generally, that I-84 corridor right on over into Massachusetts. All right, days 1 through 7 precipitation, you can see here. We are expecting still some rain in Texas, but not as much. The Northeast has been trending wetter now, and that's because there's going to be multiple threats for thunderstorms. And then, of course, we have this area that we are watching in the Midwest and portions of South Dakota and Nebraska, where there will be some periods of heavy rainfall from training thunderstorm segments. You have to keep an eye out for that. So, widespread 2 to 4 inches of rainfall is expected, with locally 5+ inches of rainfall where these training segments set up. And then in the Four Corners region, you do see a little bit of rainfall. What you do not see is any rainfall in California. Just a couple specks on here, but it's nothing really. Wildfire situation for you is only going to continue to grow. And speaking of that, while you're not in drought conditions yet, should this dryness continue, you would go into drought conditions. We have now introduced drought conditions across portions of the Mid-Atlantic, and you can see this is escalating relatively quickly. It wasn't so expansive last week, and now all suddenly it's expanding, and you're starting to see more color on the map. We could use some rain in that area. Unfortunately, there's a couple fronts coming next week. It's only going to be isolated. It's not going to be widespread. It's just going to be isolated to scattered. So it's no consolidated area of rain, just the shower and thunderstorm variety Sunday into Monday, and then maybe again later next week. Drought conditions do continue across the Four Corners region, but as you saw here, and I'll go back, there could be a little bit of relief. Not enough widespread, but enough that it could help this a little bit, especially across Texas. We expect that could improve a little bit. And across Oklahoma and Kansas, you're still in drought conditions. And the Pacific Northwest, you could do with some rainfall, because this is starting to get a little bit more vigorous of a drought for you as well. Ohio Valley still dealing with some drought conditions as well. All right, taking a look at this. I thought I would show this to you today. Look at West Palm Beach, Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Naples, 87s. We do see 191. It's actually cooler in Florida right now than it is in the Northeast. Highs are going to be in the mid-90s in the Northeast today. It's 11:21 a.m. and we're almost 90 degrees here already in Northeast Philadelphia. Yeah, that's relatively impressive, and we're already at the expected highs for Florida up here in the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. Is that impressive or what? Let's take a look at the European. First off, we're going to take a look at temperatures here because I want to show you that. Here's the temperatures for today, and you can see 90s. You see 96 just north of Boston, right along that 95 corridor in New York City. And I got to be honest with you, this did actually trend a little bit, I don't want to say the words cooler, but a little less impressive as it was originally expected to be. The modeling at one point was more impressive. They backed off a little bit, but again, it's still hotter than Florida along that I-95 corridor, even up into Maine. Taking a look at tomorrow, you can see here the heat, it does get suppressed to the southward a little bit because you do get that backdoor front-like feature that's providing showers and thunderstorms today and again tomorrow. But look across Pennsylvania. You can see mid-90s. New York City will also hit the mid-90s again tomorrow. Then it's back across the Ohio Valley, straight on into the south. And Florida, you will start to get hotter, at least on the panhandle, as we head into the weekend. And of course, places like Philadelphia and New York, you may not see relief until the middle of next week, if at all. I mean, look as I advance this. You can see here, even with an approach of a front next week, which we'll talk about in a moment, you can see it really does not cool off all that much. And look across the plains. You're talking about temperatures near 100 on Monday of next week. California, across portions of Arizona, very hot for you, but that would be expected at this time of the year. And as I advance this, finally, as we head into Tuesday of next week, maybe some relief for Pennsylvania and Washington, D.C., but really not all that impressive because here comes Wednesday. Look at this. Mid-90s once again on the European model. Let's take a look at the precipitation. We'll back this up, and we can see on Friday, showers and thunderstorms once again across portions of New York State and portions of New England, and again Saturday as well. This is pretty much a boundary that is just going to be stalled with daily showers and thunderstorms. Eventually that boundary will lift north, and then we do see a cold front that comes, and not all that impressive on the European. Yes, some showers and thunderstorms on Sunday evening and again on Monday, but really not all that impressive. You can see here, it is showing potential flash flood threat across portions of Virginia and North Carolina. That would actually be welcomed because you saw how dry it is there. You can see here the drought conditions, they're starting up there. So that would be welcomed. We'll have to keep an eye on that. And this front, it now moves along. Why? Because, well, there's another front that's waiting in the wings back across the Great Lakes, and that is going to move in later in the week, probably the second half of the week, around Wednesday night or sometime on Thursday. And when we take a look at the GFS, we can see generally similar conditions. Let's back this up. We can see on Sunday, GFS is still a little bit more impressive with shower and thunderstorm activity on Sunday. And on the GFS now, it looks like maybe it may clear the front about midday on Monday, so less of a threat on Monday afternoon, more so Monday morning across portions of the Mid-Atlantic. You can see the rest of the country. California, it remains dry, and we're not seeing any significant precipitation for you for a long time. Middle of next week, you can see this next front does come in, and doesn't have much fanfare for it for the Northeast. We will have to watch, though. There could potentially be an MCS that sets up somewhere around the Great Lakes and maybe makes its way down to the Ohio Valley before dissipating over the Appalachian Mountains. You can see it here on the GFS. It's trying to show a thunderstorm complex. So that is one thing we will at least have to watch. And I could just advance this through to the end of the run for California and take a look at that. You're not seeing any significant rainfall. All right, 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. Well above average in the east will continue, and the Four Corners region slightly below average in the Pacific Northwest. Slightly above average precipitation there, which is well needed. Well below average in California, above average in between. Again, on top of those ridges, you will have showers and thunderstorms 8 to 14 days. Well above average temperatures in the east. Any relief will be very short-lived in the heat. And Four Corners region, well above average for you. And near normal precipitation in the east. We do have a couple of those fronts that will come through. Some shower and thunderstorm activity, not widespread. The drought situation, I think, in the Mid-Atlantic will continue to worsen. Taking a look here, slightly above average precipitation across portions of New Mexico and Arizona. California, below average for you. I don't see any, you just saw the GFS. It's bone dry throughout the entire run. And Washington, Oregon, maybe a couple shower chances, nothing major, and some showers and thunderstorms in between. I don't think we're looking at any big severe weather threats, but, you know, one or two could pop up here and there. Alrighty, folks, that does it for today's weather update. We will have another weather update again tomorrow. For more, follow me on X at Climate Data Report, and of course, subscribe down below. Give this video a thumbs up, hit that notification bell, share this with anyone you know, and leave a comment down below. Let me know, what is the weather where you are? See you all again next time. Thanks for watching. Have a great afternoon.